Hawks-Sixers game one of their conference semi. Great finish, great fans. And they had Joel Embiid enter the arena with Triple H and a sledgehammer, for Pete's sake. Triple H ringing the bell. Embiid looking like his old self early on. How about the three, getting the 18,000 plus in Philly into it? Best crowd they had all season. That small meniscus tear in his right knee didn't look like it was an issue. Embiid had 17 in the first half. But the story of the first half was Trae Young crossing over Danny Green. Trae Young, more threes than a bad dating site. 25 of his 35 came in the first half. Atlanta made 14 of their first 18 field goals. Doc Rivers said they hit us in the mouth to start the game. They were the more physical team, more aggressive team. They played harder early. The Hawks hung 74 on the 76ers in the first half. Young abusing Danny Green along the way. Under 5 minutes to go in the game. Hawks up by 15. Young going to work. A lot of bounce. And then the bucket. Timeout. Timeout. Philly needs a timeout. Young 35 and 10 assists in this one. But hang on, the Sixers aren't done. Embiid lays it up and in. He had 39 and 9 in 38 minutes. Hawks try to get it inbounds. Kevin Huerter, 5-second violation. So suddenly, Philly is really back in this game. Down 5, just over a minute to go. Next Sixers possession, Embiid. He wanted a foul on this one as well. Philly had trailed by 26. Suddenly they're down by 3. Hawks get it back. Young, double teamed. Bogdanovich. A three-pointer, and how clutch is that? Silencing the crowd. Here's Bogdanovich on that gesture.
I almost stick the finger in my nose because my nose is big. It's just a moment, hitting big shot, silencing the crowd. It's fun, for sure.
Poking fun at his own beak. Nice. Under 25 to go. Hawks by 5. Young, the alley-oop to John Collins. Sixers fans were chanting, "Trae is balding." I thought that was more than a little unnecessary. Philly missed 19 threes, 11 free throws. Young laughs last. 128-124. The Hawks take game one.
That's the main goal. All the individual stuff is, it's for the birds. I don't even care about it. None of these guys in this room cares about it. All we care about is wins, and that's what we've been doing and taking care of business. And we just got to have that same mentality going forward, and if we do that, we'll be okay.
It's the playoffs. You can't worry about, how many minutes someone is supposed to play or he's going to play. You got to go with your best guys. And, as long as, I'm okay to be out there, and I'm going to give my best, and I'm going to keep pushing until, I can't. But as long as I'm out there, I'm going to play hard, and, I'm going to die for loose balls. I'm going to do whatever it takes to win because, my goal is to win the championship. And, I'm going to put my body on the line to make sure that happens. I'm going to give everything I got.
Trae Young has embraced the role of villain on the road in these, his first NBA playoffs. He scored at least 30 in all 4 of the Hawks' road games. Only other player ever to do that is Lou Alcindor. Both did it at the age of 22, both against the Knicks and Sixers. Tim Legler now on Philly's stumble out of the gates.
Well, I think there's a high level of concern right now for Philadelphia for a couple reasons. First, they had a healthy Joel Embiid and still lost the game. They expected to be able to control the pace, pound Atlanta inside, and dictate tempo defensively by controlling the game through Joel Embiid in the post. Instead, the Atlanta Hawks came out and got loose very early. When you allow a guy like Trae Young to get into that kind of rhythm in the first quarter, this team is going to feed off of that. And they've started moving the basketball around. And even the great perimeter defenders of the Philadelphia 76ers, they could not catch up to the basketball. I think there's got to be a big adjustment in Game 2. I want to see Matisse Thybulle spend the majority of the game on Trae Young. That may mean starting him and handing him off as little as possible. And if he gives the ball up, face guard deny to get it back. You have to contain Trae Young if you want to beat this team. So right now, Philly's got some adjustments after dropping Game 1 at home.
Yeah, and to Leg's point, Young went off with 25 in the first half when he was guarded almost exclusively by Danny Green on all but 5 possessions. But again, as Legs pointed out, the silver lining in Game 2, Philly slowed him down the rest of the way in Game 1 when Green, Matisse Thybulle, and Ben Simmons split time against the Hawks star.
Cinderella story, James Madison. They win 126-111. They move on to play the Utah Jazz.
It's all team win. We wanted this moment. It was a great test for us, making us battle tested going into the second round. So, like I said, it was a great win for us.
Just for me, it's about the situation that's in front of you. Just because you play great in whatever 9 game 7s, it doesn't mean you're going to play great in game 10, and vice versa. So it's all about the moment. Sometimes when you're overconfident, you play bad. Sometimes when you're down on yourself, you play good. But like I said, for me, it's about focusing in that moment, having fun, and playing hard. That's it. It's a game of basketball.
28 Leonard, 23 Morris, 22 Paul George. Kawhi, special series in round 1. He joined Shaquille in the 2000 NBA Finals as the only players to average 30 on 60% shooting in a playoff series this century. Kawhi's average field goal attempt against Dallas, however, came from over 13 feet away from the hoop. Shaq's average shot distance was 4.5. Mavericks go home early again.
We're very disappointed with the result of the series, obviously. I thought through the course of it there was a lot of growth, a lot of very valuable experience, but losing in the first round is something that we don't like doing.
We gave everything. I'm really proud of this team. Obviously, I hate losing. We hate losing, but I'm proud of my team. The playoffs is different than the regular season, and Game 7 is tough as gay. You gotta give everything. Today wasn't the result we wanted, but we'll come back next year.
Mavericks still have not won a playoff series since the 2011 NBA Finals. Luka, 0-2 in his career in playoff series, but his numbers this series were historic. Became just the second player to average 35 and 10, joining Russell Westbrook. His 46 points on Sunday were tied for the third most in a Game 7 in postseason history and were the second most in a loss.
Tim Legler is open. Let's get him the rock. Legs, by the way, first off, shout out Luka. He absolutely sparkled in this series. He's the best young player in the NBA. Kawhi was insane, Legs, on Sunday. What did the Clippers find in Games 6 and 7 of the series?
Well, I think what happened was they started to exploit Dallas defensively. I don't think Dallas has great defensive fundamentals. I mean, you saw in this series they went to a lot of zone as a result of that, and I just thought the Clippers got that separation they needed in the third quarter where they really took advantage of some defensive mistakes. And, it starts when you get out in transition, and if you don't match up and you're going to have someone make a basket cut when you're unaware, you're going to end up then leading to an over-rotation, as you see the Mavericks do when this ball goes to Terrence Mann. Take a look at the way 4 white jerseys converge on the lane, and then now you have a problem. You're chasing the basketball, and you see eventually they make a couple passes. Marcus Morris knocks down the 3. This is a critical stretch in the game. And then another issue they have with zone defense, it's blocking out. It's always a problem whenever you play a zone, and offensive rebounding was an enormous issue for the Mavericks in the second half. You take a look at this one by Kawhi Leonard. This is a simple, dead sprint down the middle of the lane. When the shot goes up, nobody gets a body on him because all 5 guys are watching the flight of the basketball. And again, a critical time in the game to be able to come up with a loose ball and get the putback in the and one. So I think what it ended up being was, look, great individual offensive performance by Luka throughout the series. Really just mesmerizing to watch. Not enough help ultimately. And then I just think the defensive fundamentals are not there with that team. And eventually, when you've got a team with as much talent, offensive talent as the Clippers, they're going to wear you down at some point. They went on a run at the most opportune time and just did not give Dallas enough time to recover. And once again, Luka will be going home in the first round of the playoffs.
And by the way, role players stepped up for the Clippers. Terrence Mann, Luke Kennard had big games in Game 7. Clips get Utah coming up in the next round. Legs thoughts on that series, plus more on James Harden and the injury coming up later in the show.